Hey Dom, hope you're okay, mate. Hello Nick, hope you're okay. So if you can type in a message, let me know where you are and who you are. That'd be great. That's good news, Dom. Good to see you. That's good, Nick. Guys, can you see and hear me okay from here? Bit wild, that one. That's good. Hi Neil, hope you're okay. Morning Mark, afternoon Mark rather. Hope you're okay, mate. Give a couple more minutes, make sure everyone's signed in. So I've got my TrackMan radar set up for us today. Got the data on there, you can see the ball flight. It's given us an idea of what's going on with my swing. I'm going to talk about the data today in a little bit of detail for us. This is also relevant to beginner golfers too. Happy with that one. Okay, give it one more minute and then we'll get started because we're going to have some new people to welcome to the On-Course Foundation today. And just make sure everyone's online shortly. Alrighty, well, a very, very warm welcome to those of you who don't know me, and also a very warm welcome to those of you who do know me, who've met me at the various On-Course Foundation events over the years. Hi, Terence. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Richard Harrison. I'm a golf professional, one of the 3 PGA golf professionals who work with the On-Course Foundation. Now, the other 2 professionals are Dan Llewellyn, who was a top-class player for many years in the 80s, and indeed a world record holder. He won the World Cup in 1987, and also Alistair Barr, who's a good friend to us all, and Alistair has taught many of the world's best players, including world number 1, Luke Donald, and I'm the other guy. Anyway, a very warm welcome to you. We've been involved with the On-Course Foundation for a long time. It started out as a well-intentioned way. Hi, Mark. Nice to see you. A well-intentioned way of coaching servicemen who were injured at Headley Court. They came to my club in London, and then here we are 12 years later, and we've taught well over 1,000 servicemen and women around the country, and also in Menorca as well, to teach them how to play the game. Hopefully, a view of them learning how to play the game, and then looking at the possibility of employment within the golf industry. Today, I'm working with my TrackMan military grade radar. Hi, Denise. Nice to see you. Welcome. And that's all displayed on here. So right on the floor here, I've got my little box. I'll show you here. There it is, 20,000 quid's worth of military grade radar. It started life with the military. So some of the members who I teach here of my club who are former military themselves remember using this years ago. And it measures everything about the golf ball flight. So on here, I've got a simulated ball flight. I've hit it that far in the air. That's the total distance. But I'm going to focus on this number here today. 105, the club speed. So what is golf all about? Well, we're trying to propel 1.5 inches of plastic very long journey towards the target. Now, golf is an incredibly complicated, difficult sport, but there's lots of different ways of enjoying it. Now, if we have, take the maths, for example, a golf ball's 1.5 inches wide, we're trying to get into a hole which is 3 or 4 inches wide, and that might be 400 or 500 yards away. So golf is difficult, but there's lots of different ways of enjoying the game. So if I look at this shot here, I'm going to hit another one now. I set myself up, and the whole purpose of a golf swing is to swing the club around the body to meet the back of the ball and give it a bang towards the target. Well, that was horrible. Anyway, let's have a look at that one. So I swung the club at 104 miles an hour, and the ball came up at 144 miles an hour. So it's not a very good shot there, but my club head speed there, 104. The world's best players swing at about 125, so they're swinging the club very quickly. And the whole purpose of the game is to use the body to create speed with the club head around the body. Now, I mentioned we taught over 1,000 service personnel, and you may well know, but these are 3-day events that we hold around the country once a month from April sort of through to September time. Anybody's welcome and every ability is welcome. And in fact, we relish the fact that we get so many beginners who come to the games, the on-course foundation events. And what we tend to do is we work with the beginners. One of the pros will work with the beginners, and then the more established players go and play. Then in the afternoon, we all get together for a format of golf whereby complete beginners can play with very established golfers. Now, we've taught many, many different disabilities. We've taught a couple of people in wheelchairs. We've taught many limbless servicemen. We've taught post-operation recoverers and many PTSD sufferers as well. And we have learned and adapted a lot along the way, our coaching, about what we do. And one of the things we've learned from you, we learn so much from you, is to improvise, adapt, and overcome. Now, when we're coaching you, one of the first things we learned very early on was that because every single muscle and every single limb is used in golf, if you do have an injury or you're missing a limb, we can work around that very, very quickly. And so when we've been working with servicemen and they have a missing limb, be it legs or arms or what have you, we can format a swing which will make the game enjoyable for you. And that's the beauty of golf. Because we use every part of the body, we're not reliant on one single part of the body. And that's how we get so much enjoyment in the game. And like I say, you don't have to be brilliant at golf to enjoy it. Now, on that note, on behalf of the On-Course Foundation and on behalf of the PGA professionals, we'd like you to know just how grateful we are for any of the sacrifices that you have made or that any of your colleagues have made. And on behalf of everyone who works for the On-Course Foundation, we want you to know just how important that is to us. It's why we exist as a charity. Okay, so let's have a look at this now, see if I can do better than that. So 240 yards propelled that ball last time. Now, the reason why it was such a poor shot, I should be hitting another 10% on top of that, is that my strike was bad. So what I want to do now is I'm going to swing the club, probably a little bit slower, but I'll achieve more power. So what did I get there? 104 miles an hour created 240 yards. So I'll swing a bit slower this time, but hopefully hit it better. And we're going to talk about efficiency now. So a little bit slower. But a hell of a lot further. So when we're swinging the club, it's not about aggression. It's not about who's the strongest. It's not about who can swing the club the fastest. It's about how well we swing. And this is a classic example. I've gained 40 yards, a huge difference there. I've gained a lot of club head speed, 8 miles an hour of ball speed, I beg your pardon there. But the club still swung the same or similar speed, maybe just a couple of miles an hour slower. And again, this is one of the beauties of the game. We don't have to be as fast and aggressive as possible to create real power. It's about technique. Now, if we teach a serviceman or woman who has a left arm injury or left arm is missing, we can still create a swing using the right hand and arm. There's tremendous amounts of power and energy we can do with that. Same with the left side. Get some motion here and swing the club. You can see I'm moving that club freely around my body with both arms. Now, when we have servicemen who are missing lower limbs or injuries to their legs and what have you, it's the same idea. And it's much easier for me to demonstrate that by hitting the ball now off one leg, if I can. Now, I toppled a bit there. but I can still generate reasonable club head speed, good distance there on one leg. I can do lots of exercise where I'm swinging with one limb unused, so be it a leg or an arm, and still generate some distance. So we can coach many, many beginners to play the game to a reasonably good standard, even with injuries. Now, golf and the military have a long history together. There's a very well-known story in golf of Lieutenant Freddie Tate, who was a champion golfer in the 1890s. And he went to war, to the Boer War in the 1890s, and his horse was purchased by many club members across the northwest of England. Sadly, he died in the Boer War in 1899. I think it was 1899. And he had a very brave death, and he was a reigning champion golfer. So golf and the military have a long established history. And indeed, where I'm stood right now is only 50 yards away from the original Blesma Hospital in World War II. It was based at my club here, just in the putting green over there, some tennis courts. So we have a long, rich history here of supporting the military, and golf has as well. So you're very, very welcome in this game, I must tell you. And that culture's thrived ever since. Now, interestingly here, look at this here. That ball had a bend of 42 feet on it. Now, we never can hit a golf ball perfectly straight. So when we're teaching beginners, the very first thing we tell you is that we can't hit a ball straight. Now, you know better than I do that a bullet will come out of a gun and it'll barrel and it'll roll and it'll move in the air. It may find its target, but it didn't take a straight line to get there. It's the same in golf. Now, typically, my ball will have 20, 30, 40 foot of bend on it. I can't hit a straight shot. And the reason for that, and again, this is one of the very, very most important lessons we can learn as a beginner to the game, is because the golf ball sits in front of us over here, we therefore attack it from an angle. And if we attack a sphere from an angle, it won't fly straight. It naturally has a bank on it and the ball curves. So when I play here, my swing, I take the club back around my body, I attack the ball from around the body, i.e. the side here, and by the time I come in and smack the back of that round object, the golf ball, it simply cannot fly straight. So we allow for a bend. I'm going to hit a shot now with a lot more bend on it. Let's see if I can put a bit of bend on it. Now, 17 foot of bend, not very much bend at all. Now, even though I was trying to bend that ball quite a bit, if we look at the simulated ball flight here, we can see the ball goes out and then curves back in. Now, the world's best players will either bend the ball a lot or they'll bend it a small amount, but they will not hit the ball straight. Now, like I said, if there's one thing I can teach you today as a beginner, or any of you learning the game or want to learn the game with us on the On-Course Foundation, it's the ball will not fly straight. We simply can't do it. Now, the beauty of the game, there's lots of reasons why we play the game. Golf doesn't have a great image sometimes. It can appear to be stuffy or upper class or what have you, or unwelcoming. But the On-Course Foundation smashes all those barriers, and we're welcome to everybody. We're open to everybody. So the game is social. You can spend the day with your mates. Beginners can play it and enjoy it. And so one of the great joys that we have at the On-Course Foundation is getting beginners to be involved in the game. And that can be anybody, absolutely anybody. We've taught loads of beginners who now are established golfers. They might not be great golfers, but they enjoy walking around the golf course in the sunshine, playing with their mates. It's a great challenge to the game. And what we do at every event is make sure the beginners are welcomed in and taught at an appropriate level. And then in the afternoon, we all play and mix in together. There's a great format we can play in golf where beginners, it's not like tennis or any other sport, a complete beginner can play with the world's best player and still enjoy a game with them. There's an awful lot of camaraderie at the events. We have about 20 servicemen and women who come to the events. Everyone mixes in, and the beauty is that you're all in the same boat. So if you have a mental health issue with PTSD, you're going to find 20 people there, and at least half of those people will have something they can relate to you about. So it's one of the great results that we've seen from the On-Course Foundation is how people who are in a bad place can soon get into a better place by mixing with people and also learning something. Coming together, meeting new people. And one thing that we see on our side of the On-Course Foundation is just how quick you are to embrace each other and to look after each other. The bonds are very strong. And also, it's a very hard game. It's a tough game. And so, everyone struggles with golf, and we can all laugh at each other. And that's one thing we definitely see with the events. Also, it's very absorbing. You've got to put your mind into golf. And so it can take away all the negativity that you might be feeling just for that moment in time that you're learning the game. And so one of the great joys that we see again is how absorbed people get into learning the game. And very quickly, beginners want to become established players. Okay, so let me try and hit a shot now using one arm. I'm going to change my club now, just to demonstrate this. Okay, so if I first of all take a less powerful club in my bag, there's about 14 clubs in a professional's bag. Most amateur golfers can probably use about 8 or 9 clubs. So I want to hit a shot now. Let's have a look at what my normal power and distance would be as a professional. That wasn't bad. So I swung at 88 miles an hour and I hit the ball 169 yards. Let's swing with one arm now. Let's see what I can do. So 169 yards, that'd be a reasonable strike for me. And I'm 88 miles an hour club head speed. Hey, shanked it. I'll hit another one. A shank, if you're new to the game, is where a ball flies 45 degrees the wrong way. Okay, that was better. Oops. Didn't read it that time. Okay, so my normal swing speed was 88. I swung then at 67. So what am I losing there? I'm losing about 25%. It's not as much as you think. And so I was saying to you before about when I'm swinging with both arms and not shanking it. When I swing with both arms, I swing at 88. If I take away one arm, I don't lose as much as you might think. And I still hit the ball 115 yards. Now, just to give you an example, this 6 iron here is definitely the middle of the range of my bag. Now, the average golf hole is around about 300 yards. I'm going to hit that club 3 times and I'll get close to the middle of the green. So the game is much more achievable than you might think when you're learning and you have a disability. And we see this week in, week out. We've had 2 On-Course Foundation members become professional golfers, one of whom is a winner in able-bodied events, and he lost his leg above his left knee. And in fact, if you look on my YouTube channel, you'll see a Q&A that we did with him on Saturday, and he talks about his evolution as a golfer. Now, it's not just the 2 professionals who we've got. It's the big win for us on the On-Course Foundation is how many people have joined the On-Course Foundation with perhaps a preconception of, oh, golf's not really for me. And then within 2 hours, they've hit that wonderful shot. We've taught them as a beginner to try and get that, what we call the wow shot, get them to feel it and propel the ball an awfully long way. Then once they've done that, they become hooked. And there's lots of different ways of playing the game. You might just enjoy going to a driving range, just hitting some shots and seeing the ball fly. It's a great thrill, just propelling the ball into the sky. You might want to make new friends. You might want some green grass and some solitude. I love playing golf on my own. I often go out there and just play a few holes after work at night. Green grass, got the whole place to myself, and I love it. You know, like I say, golf is such an absorbing sport. So I'm going to talk a little bit more now about the technique here. So I'll still use my one-armed swing here. So the big numbers we see, well, the ball flew in the air 97 yards. It finished 115 yards away. I swung the club at 67. And even as a professional golfer, when I swing at full power, it's only 88. So it's not that big a drop. Now, here's the big number here. This is club path, and it says there 4 degrees. And again, if there's one thing I want you to learn about today is that the ball doesn't fly straight. But the club path here at 4 degrees tells us that the club head itself attacks the ball 4 degrees from here. It didn't come on a straight line, and that's one of the most logical things, one of the logical mistakes we make, is we think, oh, I'll swing the club on a perfectly straight line. But the golf swing isn't on a straight line, it takes place around us. And this is when we start to really understand and learn the science of the technique. The golf ball sits on the ground, that makes it very hard to play this game. If we're playing tennis or table tennis, the ball is sort of midriff height, we get the club under, or the bat will go under. But in golf, the ball sits on the ground. So we swing the club around us, we return around us here, and then we hit the back of the ball. Now, the shot I just hit a moment ago with my one arm, I attacked at a 4 degree angle here. And we know that if we attack from 2, 3, or 4 degrees into the ball here, that ball will more or less finish on target. and finishing on target and the ball flying on a straight line are not the same thing. So it's super critical that we understand all of the science involved in the game. Now, if I look at my swing from face on, we call that down the line. We're looking down the line of flight. One of the very first exercises we get anybody to do, if they are physically okay and fit and strong and all the limbs are there, or if they're missing an arm, we get them to swing the club upside down to create some swish. And that motion there is very natural. It's Mother Nature. It's a swishing action. And if the club gets swishing, it gets speed. And so when I played that shot a moment ago with one arm and I'm swinging the club at 67 miles an hour there, that's a lot of miles an hour. Yeah. But what I'm doing there to achieve it is not necessarily loads of science and I'm overthinking and complicated positions. I'm simply swishing this motion here. Now you've got to think, long before golf was invented, people would have tried to hit sticks and stones and just have a competition. Can I hit my stone with my stick further than you? They wouldn't have thought too hard about left arm position, right arm position, shoulder this and shoulder that. They would have just swung the stick at the stone to propel that stone on a distance. So what we do as coaches at the events is we take complete beginners and people who are completely unexposed to golf, and we teach them the most natural way of learning how to play the game. What then happens after 2 or 3 events throughout the year is you fill the gaps in between those events with a little bit of practice at the driving range of your own, a little bit of time just hitting balls. And even if you only hit the ball once in 100 shots, but it propels really high, it's got that lovely smack behind it, loads of power, it's an addictive game. Because seeing that ball propel and fly is a very difficult thing to do, but we can all do it if we apply 1 or 2 very basic, natural movements in the swing there. Now, if you are online and you've got access to asking me any questions, then feel free to type one in right now. While you're doing that, I just took a couple of shots, and then you can perhaps have a look at the data again, see how far I'm carrying the ball, what my club head speed is, how that club head speed relates to ball speed. The better I swing, I'll get more ball speed for the same club head speed. So this is the big emphasis today, and the reason why I brought the computer out for us is that the game isn't necessarily about how hard and how powerful and how fast you can swing. It's about quality of swing. So there's a lot of intelligence involved in learning golf. And again, one of the paradoxes of the game is that if I just hold the club lighter, swing a bit smoother, I tend to hit the ball further. And so when we're teaching people at the on-course foundation events, we're just working all the time. So again, 280 yards there, but I swung slow, you see, 3 or 4 miles an hour slow, but I'm achieving the same distance. So this is one of the big battles that we have as coaches, because instinctively we think aggression, be angry, belt the ball. It's not about that. It's about using your body properly. So I've got 2 questions there. One's a very technical question. How do you fade a ball? So what I've said to you earlier on, that's not a very good shot. That 162 foot of bend on the ball, that's pretty ropey for a professional. It's very windy out there. So 162 foot of bend there. All my shots bend to the left. Now I'm being asked a question there by Dom, how do I bend it the opposite way? Well, we know that we stand on the correct side of the ball. We attack it from an angle, therefore it will bend to the left. It always bends to the left. So anything where the ball bends to the right is actually a corruption of the swing. We're not trying to do that. So I'll answer that question another time, Dom. So I want to keep this for beginners really today. And then Mark has asked a question, can you remind us of the grip? Now, we don't call it a grip, Mark, because a grip means one thing, it means a squeeze. Now, you know yourself, when we've been at the events, we've had many servicemen who are missing fingers, digits on the hand. We can't ask them to grip the club, but we can ask them to hold it. And so that is called the handle, and we hold the handle. And if we hold the handle, then our wrists become loose, and therefore they become active. And that activity there creates speed. So tension's a disaster in the golf swing. Speed's what we want, looseness is what we want, and really efficient use of our energy is what we want. So when we hold the handle, we hold it so it's quite flexible and there's movement there, because that movement in my wrist creates power. Now, a golf swing is a series of levers. If you picked up a hammer and axe, you go up and you would chop down like that. you wouldn't grip it and be rigid and do that. It's the same in a golf swing. You swing the club around the body to create looseness so the body can work. So again, strength is not the key in golf. Looseness and range is the key. So if I get my body moving around and I create space, I then can create power. And so like I said, there's lots of sort of intuitive things we all do in a golf swing, which don't always work out well for us. So Mark Davis has asked, could you talk about different foot position with different clubs, please? Yeah, with pleasure. Okay, so for the beginners out there, let me just show you the two extremes here. I have a very short club here and a very long club here. The longer the club, the more distance we create. And you can see this very short club here has a very different shaped head to it. So the black-headed one here is going to hit the ball a long way. This one here has what's called a loft angle. And we swing that one even smaller to hit the ball a short distance. And that pops the ball up in the air, that club there, as you'd expect. It's got so much face angle. So the 10 clubs that you'll have in your bag, they don't all do the same thing. They hit all different distances. Now in terms of foot position, it's very simple. When we want to hit the ball a long way, we need a big wide base with the feet. And so we stand wide distance here, and we place the ball opposite the left side here. The reason for that is that we want to hit the ball up to propel it, and that's called its launch angle. Now again, remember what I said? These TrackMan computers are military-grade radar. So if I hit a big drive now, let's have a look at the launch angle. That will explain why I have the ball with the driver a long way forward in the stance here. I want to launch that ball up in the air to optimize its power. So let's launch angle here. Let's see what it says. I should be getting 14 to 15 degrees. Well, there you go, 15.4. And I've hit it 284 yards. It's actually my longest drive of the day, that, by 4 yards today. Now, I know the optimum launch angle is, for me, is about 14, 15 degrees. And if you took a hose pipe and you held it horizontally, the water would come out horizontally and then dip. If you put it vertically, the water goes up and down. In between those 2 points, the optimum launch angle. So again, in golf, like science, like the military, we're looking for the optimum launch angle there. And so the ball position creates all those different results. If my launch angle was low, the ball would find the ground too quickly. If it's high, it just goes up and down. Hi, Terence. I was told to use an outside to in swing. Never quite got to grips with it. What was said? Well, forget it. None of us swing with an outside to in swing. And simply put there, if that line represents a line to the target, we stand on the inside over here. That's the outside. The golf swing is inside that line. It's not on a straight line. It's not outside the line. So either you've misheard what was said there, or you've been told something wasn't great information. But we attack every ball from the inside here, Terence. Inside. And that clapping action I do there, it's another great thing for a beginner. Back. That smack there at the back of the ball sends that ball on a long journey, let me tell you. You wouldn't instinctively do that, or this, or swing at odd angles. You go back and then bang. And that's what creates power in a golf swing. Okay, Dom. Which method of holding the club gives the best control? Interlocked, fingers, or baseball? Well, let me just show you the difference there. Interlocked is that hand position. Overlap is that position. Baseball's that position. Now, the reason why we wear a glove on one hand in golf, you may wonder if you've never played the game, is that the left hand holds the handle and touches it entirely. The right hand has very minimal contact with the handle. Again, like I said to you before, if you're missing a limb, we can teach you, because we can teach you lots of different ways of doing it. The world's best players hold the club very differently. Some are like that. One's been like that. A few have been like that. Some are like that. And most are like that. But we don't care in the On-Course Foundation, because we know there's loads of different ways of doing it. And the reason being, we've done it with 1,000 different people. And so we find the best way for you. And that's the beauty of the game. There's a science to it, there's an art and a skill to it. And our job as golf professionals is to take that art and skill and say, okay, how can we adapt this to this person who stood right in front of us here? And we always get it somehow. We improvise, we adapt, and we overcome. Remember, you taught us that. No problem at all, Terence. Alrighty, well, look, my name is Richard. My email address is richard.harrison@roehamptonclub.co.uk. My website is richardgolfpro.com. So richard.harrison@roehamptonclub.co.uk. And then Richard Golf Pro. You can always send an email to Will at the On-Course Foundation, or send one to me. Got any questions, or you want to send me a swing, then do it straight away. I'd be more than happy to help you out. So Denise just wrote, I achieved 160. Wow. On my last On-Course Foundation event, I was over the moon. I'm a novice so far now. I have a goal to improve this season. Good for you, Denise. Now, if you do want to improve at home, you have got your clubs at home, or you've got access to a club at home. The exercise of swinging and swishing one arm like this will keep your body golf familiar. And also it'll create speed in your swing. You get the club moving, get some looseness and range. What you don't want to do is freeze up in this boring lockdown period. Alrighty, well, a big thank you to all for tuning in. Thanks for all your questions. You know where I am. I'm always around if you want to have a chat. My pleasure, Mark, no problem. And with regards to your mental health and PTSD, whatever you're suffering with out there, golf is a tremendous release for that. It doesn't cure it all, as I'm sure you're aware, but we have seen proof positive many times that the power of friendship, learning, fresh air, completely fresh environment, and doing something very positive is a very worthwhile thing on your road to recovery. So like I said sometime earlier on in the session today, thank you very much for the sacrifices you've been prepared to make. And thank you very much for being as patriotic as you are. We're very proud of you. And the only reason why we exist as a foundation is because of you. And we want to help every single one of you. So God bless you. And I look forward to seeing you all another time. All the best.